Hi, my friends. How are you? I wanted to talk about how to use the past sentence in English. In some languages like Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, but even German, we have a different form of the verb for the past. For example, if I wanted to say in Spanish that I didn't go to school, I say no fui a la escuela. Yo voy a la escuela, no voy a la escuela. So the verb changes. In English, we use an auxiliary like didn't for the past in order to form the past. So if we're not used to that, sometimes people make the mistake of using the past with didn't. For example, I didn't want it, or I didn't went, or I didn't knew, okay? Which is a mistake in English. So how can you correct this mistake, this error, this issue? The first thing, it happens when you automatically translate in your head from your native language into English. And that's why you're making that mistake, because your brain is translating literally what you thought in your language into English. When you arrive at the point when you're speaking without thinking and applying the English rules at the same time because you learned it, because you repeated it a lot of times, and you're not making that mistake again. So one exercise could be this one. Let's suppose, for example, that we wanted to practice the simple past in order to use didn't and then the infinitive afterwards. For example, I didn't go, I didn't know, I didn't want, instead of I didn't knew, I didn't went, I didn't want it. The first thing is, for example, to use the phrase in past, in simple past, like I went to school, for example. I went to school, that's affirmative. So now I'm gonna say negative, I didn't go to school, okay? I didn't go to school. Now I'm gonna practice it by asking a question. Did you go to school? Did you go to school yesterday? For example, I say, yes, I did. But if I wanted to practice the full phrase, I would say, yes, of course, I did go to school. When I wanted to say, for example, when I want to say, yeah, I'm sure, I did go to school. When I use that phrase, I did go to school, what I mean is that maybe you thought that I didn't, but I did, okay? I'm emphasizing that I did go to school. It's different from say, yeah, I went to school, okay? So it's like, for example, in Spanish, when you say, sí, yo sí que fui a la escuela. It means, yeah, you're reinforcing your phrase. So that's one practice that you can use. You can practice, for example, I wanted to go, I didn't want to go. I wanted to work, I didn't want to work. I wanted to go to the movies, I didn't want to go to the movies. I didn't know, I knew, I didn't know. I knew, I didn't know. I worked, I didn't work. And you use those pairs and then you repeat it till it comes automatically to your mind that after didn't or after any auxiliary verb in English, you gotta use the verb, the main verb in the infinitive form. The same goes, for example, with should, would, could. I could go. I was able to go, okay? The verb is always in the infinitive. But even when we know the rule, if we have to think about it, if we have to translate in our head from our mother tongue into English, you're gonna fall again into that mistake. So you gotta repeat and repeat. For example, I didn't speak English. Do you speak English? Yeah, I do speak English. I speak English. I didn't speak English. I spoke English. So what I suggest you to do is to take most of the verbs that you use every day, like speak, go, visit, eat, drink, and use it both affirmative and negative every time, in present and also in past. Are you gonna see that you're gonna master that simple past, negative simple past? Okay, I hope you practice and I hope you liked my tips. See you. Bye.